pretty much every bit of news about Eric Adams since he became the mayor of New York City has been kind of weird. Even like the corruption and nepotism has been like particularly weird. Well, it's about to get weirder. He recently equated heroin addiction to being hooked on cheese just this week. He said, according to this tweet from Chris Sommerfeld, that food is like a drug and claims people would not be able to tell the difference between someone hooked on heroin and someone hooked on cheese. He also acknowledges he does, quote, not have great self-discipline when it comes to food or metaphors. Apparently, he's got two weaknesses. Anyway, he is a self-proclaimed vegan. He claims to have cured his own diabetes and even reversed blindness he was experiencing in one eye by switching to a plant-based diet. So anyway, he is pushing for more New Yorkers to switch to plant-based meals as possible. That seems a little bit inconsistent with the big worry about cheese. Wouldn't you maybe be eating more of it? I don't know. I mean, I just understand it's not vegan. I get that. But I don't think most New Yorkers are gonna instantly switch to being vegan. And if they're vegetarian, they might eat more. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But anyway, he says food is addictive. You take someone on heroin, put them in one room, and someone hooked on cheese, put them in another room, which I've done. It's a great experiment. I have a level of my manor house, which is specifically for this experiment. No, I'm kidding. You take it away. I challenge you to tell me the person who's hooked on heroin and who's hooked on cheese. Okay, Francesca, this is a very interesting way to convince people to go with his thing. So what do you think about this analogy?
What? Buddy, oh my God, like, don't say that. Hey, how about that? Hey, new mayor. Hey, what up? Don't say that about people who are addicted to heroin. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to tell the difference between the person addicted to heroin who's trying to get sober and going cold turkey and the person not eating cheese. Yeah. Have you seen Trainspotting? There's a reason that's about heroin and not cheese. Nobody trying to go cold turkey off heroin ever saw like a baby crawling upside down on the ceiling. What the hell? And like, it's just, it is so ridiculous to me that, and so perfectly on brand Eric Adams, which again, this is gonna be a very fun ride because it is gonna be nonstop foot in mouth stuff. But it is this like weird thing that I think some vegans, not all, have where they're like, actually, this is the most important issue ever, that like cheese eating is way more important than, let's say, harm reduction around heroin use and allowing folks to get clean and supporting them. It's like, no, we gotta talk about the cheese.
Francesca, no, continue.
No, I'm just saying, I get the climate change argument. I'm with you, y'all. I'm a vegetarian, but like, who sometimes eats chicken. Okay, don't at me, but like.
It's basically a fish, so.
I basically, look, I eat all the animals, but I'm a vegetarian. The point is this, no, it is not more important, and it's so crass and so ham-fisted to make that comparison. John, what do you think?
I think that I love the idea that you once saw tuna listed as chicken of the sea and thought, oh, so we can do that too? Anyway, no. By the way, I will say that in my experience, the vast majority of the vegans I've met have been very understanding about cheese-based heroin analogies and have not freely thrown them about. Look, it is obviously an incredibly important area. And I do think as many people converting to a vegan diet as possible is great, as long as I'm not one of them. I'm kidding. I advocate for all non-me people to do that for a lot of reasons. I do think there's a lot of health benefits. I do think that there's environmental benefits. I think that there are a lot of benefits in a lot of different areas. And I think you can even advocate for that as a politician without whatever this was. Now, I will say, to play devil's advocate, not to say that he's the devil, he's slightly better. Look, I do think that food addiction is real. And I think it's something that a lot of people do think about. Like, something cannot be the most objectively important political issue, but it can be the thing that's digestible for a lot of people. A lot of people do think about food and what they eat, and they do struggle with things. I legit believe that I have an addiction to sugar. It is very much not the same thing as a heroin addiction, but I do think that it's an addiction. So I think that taking that seriously and making that a part of your platform can be a good idea. I just think that you have to tread carefully. And I think that he has gone in a different direction. That's all.
I'm sure he has an exception for cops. I mean, this is terrible and most people shouldn't eat this, but like cops, I mean, yeah, hey, more cops in subways. Hey, when you're cracking skulls, you got to eat that cheese. Yeah, anyway, this man is such a conundrum. He's so cringe. He's so cringe.
Look, I agree, but I will say, and I see my producer is, okay, hold on. Okay, I'll read the graphic. I love that my producers start making things of the graphic bigger and bigger. Okay, back in 2015, a University of Michigan study was mistakenly cited in a wave of articles claiming cheese is as addictive as cocaine or cheese really is crack. It's not. According to the CDC, overdose deaths from opioids increased to over 75,000 in the 12-month period ending in April of last year, up from 56,000 the year before. The federal agency does not track deaths from eating too much cheese, but they could. I'm sure Eric Adams has a brother or a cousin he can put in charge of that, I suppose. And by the way, the producer says the controversy does not stop there. New York City Mayor Adams admits occasionally eating fish despite claiming to be vegan. Now understand, I am not a vegan, but get off of him over occasionally eating fish. Seriously, how pure do we expect people to be? It's fish. It's basically a vegetable. If you want, you can still be vegan and occasionally break. It happens.
One time I dropped a carrot in a pond and I was like, look, there's a fish.
Swim away.
It looks the same.
Yeah, just get off of people.
It's so dumb. And like, it reminds me also of like Bloomberg's, getting rid of trans fats and big gulps. And it's like, look, I support that. I mean, this isn't even that. Like, this isn't even
this isn't that. We do have to, we do have to move on.
Okay, let's move on. I honestly,
just let get off of people. Get off of him. But also get off of vegans. A lot of people are like, there's nothing they love more than hating people who eat differently. And that does go to vegetarians and vegans too. I know some people can be too evangelical about it, but they also get a lot of attacks.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.